faces to a new dawn and a new day, and a very exciting one at that. Because that right there means that it is install day for the PA that we picked up a few months ago from Ryland Russell at Central Baptist Owasso. So I got the man lift here in about half hour, 45 minutes. My install team is going to be here. So I'm going to get this thing unloaded and get inside because it is freezing this morning in Southeast Texas. So hang tight. I'll be right back. All right, well, that took an act of Congress. The scissor lift is inside. That was weird. I've never had to push the extension out to get a scissor lift to fully collapse where I could get it indoors. So that took a minute. But it's in here. It's good to go. Install team is here. Chris Delcom of Broadcast Audio Solutions is doing our install. And man, he is the best of the best. So we'll meet him in just a little bit. As for now, I want to show you guys what we're going to do today. As you know, we've got these tectonic flat panel mains up here that have been here for the last, I guess, 7-8 years or so. The issue with them is that they throw 165 degrees in all 4 directions. That's a big issue, on top of the fact that we're in a very untreated room with concrete floors and drywall and steel beams above us. So it's not the ideal situation. What we're doing today is pulling these down and putting in the PA that you guys saw us pick up a couple of months ago from Central Baptist Owasso. It's an old school EV line array. It's got some age on it, but it sounds great. And I think it's gonna do well for us in this room. So we'll be going from 2 mains that throw 165 degrees in all 4 directions to an array system that throws a 90 left to right and then 6-degree boxes. We'll also be flying a couple of subs, replacing our front fills, and tying in our existing JBL subs on the floor just for a little bit of low-end fill in the room. But first, I've got to go upstairs and get the grills and brackets because they've been in the studio curing for the past couple of days. So let me go grab those. We'll get those back on the boxes and then get today started. So I told you I'd show you guys one of these panels. This is the Tectonic distributed audio panel. And surprisingly, I've never held one in person. These things are heavy, dude. It's interesting that it's that heavy because to listen to it in a room like this, it doesn't feel like it's got that much mass to it. The sound pressure level that this thing puts out just does not fill the room. But here it is. Here's the Tectonic distributed mode loudspeaker. We're at the point now that we got grills back on, the first array, rigging and fly gear is put together. Chris is over here with Broadcast Audio Solutions, who's doing our install. He is getting jumpers wired and put together so that as soon as our other install guy gets here, we can start going up with boxes, which won't be too terribly long. And then after that, we'll move on to the stage left array. After that, we'll start reamping things and get all that squared away. So hang tight, be right back. So I want to show you guys something real quick. We're fixing to start going up with boxes, but first I'm going to show you, I told you we were putting in some new front fills as well. So I'm going to open these up and just make sure that the horn is rotated the right direction. These are 50 by 90s. We want to make sure that we're going 90 horizontal. All right, so first thing we're going to do is take this little bracket off here. Drop this off. And then I'm going to take this grill off. And these probably already are turned because I know where they were. But I just want to take the grill off and verify. That way we don't have to do it after the fact. Alright, and sure enough, so you can look at the horn here and see 90 this way, 50 this way, and this is just the degree of the throw. We just want to make sure that we're hitting the audience appropriately, right? We don't want 50 wide and 90 tall. That's pointless. We want to get as much coverage left to right as possible. So this one's already rotated. I'm going to close it back up, and you can see above me, the guys are actually fixing to start hanging the first sub. This is really cool. So when Chris came in today, and most manufacturers have this kind of thing, but there's actually a software from EV where he can put in the measurements of the room and put in the array that he's using and how high he's going to hang it, and it will actually tell him the shading he needs and the correct splay and all that kind of stuff to make it fit the room appropriately for the space that we're in. All right, well, the guys are well into the hang at this point. I'm going to go be of what assistance I can be, but in the meantime, here is a time lapse of most of the hang. Both arrays are hung. Now we are fixing to go back up and start cabling it. So while Chris is out there wiring up the boxes themselves, Perry's back here in our little makeshift server room slash amp room slash closet. He's going to be pulling out all the London Blue processing and the lab group and amps we have and replacing them with the EV processing and EV amps that actually go with this array. Now, I told you guys before, we're keeping the little 10-inch subs that we have underneath the stage. And so that means that we're also going to be using the EV processing to handle those as well. They're little JBL 10 inches, but they're just going to help fill in the bottom of the room since we flew 2 subs up top. All right, so the other thing I told you guys that was coming here really soon is we're getting ready to put a manned camera in over here at front of house. That is the stage platform for it. And now before you go beat me up in the comments, I know we're supposed to have 2 different platforms, one for the operator, one for the camera, and that just reduces camera shake and things like that. However, that is coming when we build the booth here, but as for now, this is the option we have to not take up a ton of space and leave walkways and so on and so forth. So what I'm actually going to do is take the track rig and the lighting rig, move them to this side of the front of house console, and then that camera platform is going to go in there. But I've got to do this pretty quick because pretty soon the guys are going to be tuning out the new system and they're going to need the tracks. So I'm going to get that rig moved over and get that camera platform in place. Alright, so a lot has happened since I talked to you guys a second ago. I've got the track rig and the lighting rig moved, doing some updates on those terminals real quick. I've got our stage deck here that's going to hold our camera, and so the little bit over 2 feet that we've got in height here, plus the camera on the tripod and the extension that we have with that should get us about the height we need to be, and then we'll have a stationary operator chair up here. And just most of their job is going to be hands off at first just because of the camera shake. We'll just have to be really, really careful and very mindful of that situation. I wanted to get to recabling and managing all of that down in the audio cart today, but I'm running out of time because these guys are fixing to be to the point that they're going to be ringing out the system and tuning it and needing tracks. So I'm just going to leave all that be for now, and then probably sometime next week I'll recable it. But as you can see behind me here, both hangs are completely done. We have subs on top, 3 boxes below, everything's cabled. All the fly gear is, spray painted black to make it dead and the whole 9. One of the last things we're going to do cabling wise is we've got to get the new front fills in. And so we had 3 tiny little front fills that we were using before, but now we're going with just 2 because like I told you earlier, they're 50 by 90. They're going to cover this room very well. So I've got the old ones out, And this front box we're not going to use. Well, we're actually not going to use any of the boxes anymore on the stage. But the two on the outside, I've got to punch down and pull that cable up so that we can go ahead and create a track to get to the new front fills, and then it's down the road and we'll start processing everything. As you can probably hear, we're now pinking the room. What this does, if you're unfamiliar with this lets us check and make sure that audio is coming through the appropriate boxes and the appropriate channels based on the processing we have going back in the rack room. So once we're done with this, then we'll come to the console and start taking care of all of our routing and processing within the console. Good morning. Welcome to day 2. We were here pretty late last night and we had a couple of complications, so I didn't film a lot of that, but we did get everything calibrated. We got the room tuned and we got a good run through some tracks of stuff that we already had recorded that were just a good baseline for us to go through and get something set so we're not starting from scratch on Sunday. Now, I'll continue to work through some of that this week and just polish it up, clean it, and get it the way I want it. But as for today, we're cleaning up everything from the install this morning, and then I am moving on to taking care of some lights that are messed up. In our worship center for house lights, we have RGB PARs overhead, and they're not the greatest PARs in the world. They've been up for about 5 years, which we're discovering pretty quickly is the extent of their lifespan. And as you can see above me, we have ones that I have complete control over, and then we have ones that have this green tint going on. And that's because the driver and the red LED are going out. What we can't figure out is if the LED is going out and taking the driver with it or vice versa. But we have experimented on some others we've repaired, and we know that replacing one part or the other does not fix it. It takes both parts. So I'm going to be pulling 4 of those today, and we're going to repair those 4 and go back up with one that we've already repaired. And hopefully that will get us by for now. And we may be rearranging some. So you're coming along for the ride? Let's go. All right, good news, bad news. Good news is I got the lights down. Bad news is I found a 5th one that needs repair, which it works out because we have 5 sets of drivers and LEDs, and that's fine. But the other piece of bad news is that scissor lift that we have only has a 3 foot 4 inch extension, and it will not get us to the lights that are over the stage. They are closer to 4.5 feet or 5 feet in as far as depth goes on the stage, and that extension just isn't going to get it. So at some point I'm probably going to wind up having to get a small boom lift in here, which is not the end of the world. It's just another rental and more money that I really don't want to spend right now. But I'm going to leave them be. If they start to go out, then it's a different discussion at that point. And because those are over the stage specifically, I don't have a problem putting a different fixture right there. They can be different from the rest of the house lights, but the rest of the house lights have to match in color profile. So is what it is. As for now, there's one more project that I've got to get to today. This sub cabinet over here. So we have on both sides of the stage underneath, we have 2 10-inch JBL subs that they found to put in this room, because when they built the stage, they built the boxes for the front fills and the subs before they found the PA. So the integrator that they had at the time went and found some subs that would fit, and just did 4 10 inches for this room. Unfortunately, something above, so those sub cabinets are boxed in completely, top and all 3 sides. Of course, they sit on concrete. The top piece of drywall, something has come loose under the inside of there and fallen on top of that drywall and is now rattling when the subs get pushed. And while we're not pushing those subs that hard anymore because we have flown subs as well, We're using it in combo and running the system at about 40% of its capacity, which is awesome. I still want to get that fixed. So we're going to get over here and cut a hole in that drywall, dig around, find whatever's loose, pull it out, and then patch up the drywall so that it doesn't start breathing with the subs and cause issues under the stage. Okay, so we may have a small problem. I just got down there and started taking a look underneath the sub cabinet, or the enclosure. I discovered that the sound was a lot more metallic than I originally thought, like as I'm laying under it and I can hear it well. And that leads me to believe that it's a piece of conduit because of what I already know about this stage and how the wire was strung across it. That said, I'm gonna have to go a little more invasive than I thought. So I went ahead and hit it with a hole saw to try to get in there and kind of find what was going on with my fingers, and that's not big enough. So let me show you what we're gonna do. So I've pre-cut a 1x1 section of drywall, and I'm going to go under there, trace this out, cut it out, find whatever's going on, diagnose it, fix it. Then I've got a little section of 1x4 here that I'll go inside the hole with and go back in with drywall, and then we'll seal it all up and make it nice and pretty so that that hole doesn't breathe with the sub. We don't want any extra, air passing through there, anything like that, any unwanted vibration. So it's already filled with insulation, which is great for that reason. We'll just seal this back up with drywall and be good to go. Well, there it is. It's exactly what I said it was, but not exactly how I told you I thought it would be. I thought it had something in it and was connected and was being pushed down on top of the drywall, and the vibration from the sub was causing it to bounce. But it was actually just a random piece of conduit left in there from when they built the stage. That's done. Thank goodness. I hate working on drywall, but I hate it even more working above my head or above my face where it's falling on me and all that kind of stuff. That's done. Now, you probably notice it's still kind of dark in here, and that is because I've got 4 lights there and 1 up in my office that I've got to go get and throw back up in the air. So I'm going to jump on the lift real quick, throw those up, and then I'm going to grab you guys. We're going to come to front of house together. The first thing I'll do is grab a clip from an old video where you can hear the room as it was with the flat panel mains. Then I will let you hear the Lark system that I'm wearing without the noise cancellation. So you get the room as it is. And then I'll talk a little more about the previous configuration versus now in just a second. But I'm going to go jump on the lift, get that done, be right back. All right, it is that time. I'm fixing to bring you guys back here and let you hear kind of what we've done with the room. The one thing to note is that the previous configuration of the room with those panels, both of them throwing 165 degrees in both directions, up, down, left, right, means that we were actually making contact with the wall as far as reflections go, way up towards the front where the exit signs are. That is way too soon to be hitting the wall and making reflections. On the flip side, with the new configuration, we're actually more than halfway back on the wall before we start, quote unquote, hitting the wall based on the new throw of the speakers being 90s on each side. So let me get you guys back here and then I'll let you hear it. Your love is take you out. Well, folks, there you have it. That is the EVA line array system in our space. Now, you heard in that first clip the old configuration of the room. Everything was just so shrill and thin and loud, and it didn't matter what you did. There wasn't a whole lot of low end. Like, it was just really tough to work with that. Even the pros that I had come in and do this install were like, dude, I don't know how you did that for that many years. But this system, on the other hand, is so sweet because it's so directional compared to that other system that, like I said a while ago, we're now over halfway back in the room before we start slapping the walls, which is awesome. And I'm super thrilled now the way we've configured this system, because I have individual matrix control over the mains, the subs, and the fills, which I didn't have before. Everything was done in the London Blue processor, and I didn't have the source file for that. So I couldn't go in and edit it without losing what was already there, and it was just more than I really wanted to mess with that configuration. Doing it the way we have it now, I have so much more control, and you can tell just in those clips the difference between before and after, and how much depth and separation exists now in the room. So really, really excited about that. Well, that said, guys, that is all I've got for you today. I do invite you, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, click that subscribe button down below. Help me get this information out to those that need it. I would appreciate that so very much. That was the whole point of starting this channel, was to just take all the stuff that I'm working on and the pieces that we've integrated and the troubleshooting that we've done, and share that with others who might need it. Hopefully, what we're doing here blesses your ministry in some way, shape, or form as well. So again, thanks so much for hanging around. If you're interested in the video consultations that I'm doing now, that link is down below in the description. Click that and all the details are there. And as for now, I will see you guys real soon.